Damn it, take two, okay? We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Wake Up Late with Dougie show. Back for our second take for the day. Had a little fun here in the studio. But at any rate, nevertheless, welcome to the show. We got a great show today. We're not going to act like we just did this for about a half hour, but we're going to recall everything we just did for you. We had a lot of fun. Let's hope it has fun the second time around. But I am Dougie Almeida, your host. And joining us today is not only a guest, but I consider him a co-host, amongst other things, my good friend, Mr. Steve Mudflap McGrew. What's up, buddy?
Hey, I'm Steve, and I just lost 250 pounds on Golo.
Golo.
Whatever the hell Golo is.
You know, they always try to make it different. You know, they're like, oh, this is different than any other weight loss program, you know. And everybody I see on those Golo commercials all look chubby. You know what I mean?
What is up with that?
Yeah.
I mean, they look like they might have lost a few pounds from pooping, but you know, there's not an extreme except for the one guy, Steve, that
yeah,
stands up straight and holds his chest out. You know, like, look, I'm an after picture.
Yeah, the right angle. None of those people could do 10 push-ups. That's the funny part about that weight loss, I imagine.
What happened to the president's physical fitness plan? Remember that? There used to be the elementary schools had this thing about the president's physical thing.
Yeah, the presidents, you had to be able to do a certain amount of pull-ups. You had to do a certain amount of push-ups, sit-ups in a certain amount of time. And, you know, it was funny because the boys, not that we, you know, back then you're like, oh, this is very sexist, but the boys. Yeah, but even the boys and the girls had their own differences. Like we weren't considered equal then. Like the boys had to do, you know, pull-ups. You had to do like 10 pull-ups. I don't remember what it was. But the women didn't have to do pull-ups. They just had to keep their chin above the bar, you know, keep the chin where we want it, ladies. But I remember when I'm thinking about that, when you just mentioned that, I came into this thought of, remember this one poor girl. She was heavy. She was the big girl. She had a rough school. She had a rough school life in elementary school. She shit her pants in first grade. Yeah, poor girl.
What? And, she pulled her
Biden? Yeah, she did her Biden impression before Biden. Well, actually, Biden was probably around then. But you know, she did, and then of course she had to go to the office and wear these like weird, like terry cloth pants. She came back, you know, and everybody's like, you shit your pants. But she was big.
Those are those you shit in your pants.
Yeah.
They keep
what are you wearing
those
for? Yeah. You either shit in your pants or you're gonna be in the play as Oscar the Grouch. So I felt so bad in this poor girl. And but yeah, she was. I remember the presidential fitness test. You know, she was just hanging there. Yeah, she was hanging there. Like she couldn't pull her chin up. She was just hanging there. I'm like, couldn't we let her down? But she held on. I couldn't believe it. She had the strongest hands. She must have like a small cookie jar. She's always reaching the fucking cookies. Got strong fingers.
That's what these people that got rid of things like that because of, you know, that makes somebody feel bad. They couldn't do the pull-ups, so that feels bad. They couldn't do the same amount of sit-ups, so they feel bad. Well, getting rid of it didn't help. That just made everybody weaker.
Yeah.
You know, instead of going, okay, you can't do the pull-ups, go over there, we'll find something else for you to do.
Yeah, yeah. You know, cry and whine and become a Democrat. That's what we're going to have you do. You know, you know what I'm saying? And that was the thing, you know, you had to be in fit. Listen, I already said on this show that the only way we're going to get this country back in order is if there's a 2-year mandatory, armed services commitment or Peace Corps. Like, yeah, you don't have to go to war, but if not, you have to dedicate a year or 2 years into the Peace Corps and actually see how other people are living across the world. So you can fucking a little bit more, you know, respectful of what you have here, you know, stop complaining.
I said that about the kid that posted the crying in Starbucks video the other day. He's sitting on the bathroom floor at Starbucks crying because he has to work an 8-hour shift. He's scheduled all weekend long, and the manager hasn't come in. Manager should be here to help. There's all these customers out there on the floor, and I said, anytime anybody posts a video like that, the government should be allowed to swoop in and stick them in the military. That's the sign that you need to toughen your ass up.
Absolutely. That's the thing. Listen, these kids have no ability to deal with adversity. They don't know what adversity is, and and this comes to a hard point. Like this is something I felt for many years because I've been with my wife for a quarter of a century, and my wife is Cambodian, and her mom and her went through the fucking killing fields of Cambodia. They were chased by the Khmer Army. They had to spend time in Thailand, at refugee camps in Thailand. You know what I mean? The fucking stories that I heard, just the survival. So when I hear other people complaining about their fucking lives, I'm like, oh my god, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But you're right. It's that adversity that we learn from. It's that adversity. What people are successful because they tried and they fucking failed. People who are successful did not just win every time they stepped up to the plate. They basically just busted their ass. They didn't whine and fucking cry on the bathroom floor, because things weren't working for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the people. The internet and social media has given a voice to stupid people, and and like you said, you don't win if you don't fail. And sometimes people don't understand that you fail on purpose in business. You know what I mean? Like people buy businesses to shut them down because that's business. You don't want the
Right.
competition, or I need a $1 billion write off. I'm going to buy this company and bankrupt it so I can write it off. And then,
Yeah.
but yet, stupid people don't understand business, so they go, well, "What about Trump? He bankrupt like 3 companies." Well, and he's still a billionaire, isn't he? Because
Yeah.
they know how to work numbers, and you don't, asshole.
Yeah, I want that argument always was like I would sit there. Well, first of all, you're gonna get mad because his Taj Mahal casino in New Jersey went bankrupt. A flamboyant hotel that was trying to bring in big money to New Jersey. Yeah, I get it.
New
Uh,
Jersey.
yeah, and those people, a lot of the companies. Remember, people always say he went bankrupt. No, the corporations he was setting up, the real estate trusts, the LLCs went bankrupt
Yeah,
or whatever. It's not just him personally. And when you make that many chances, like it's the old Babe Ruth story. He hit 714 whatever fucking home runs, but he also struck out a million fucking times. You know what I
yeah,
mean? That's the
yeah,
difference. But that's the thing. Again, it's the adversity. Life's all about decisions. You got to be able to make a decision. One, some people just sit there on the fence all day. What do I do? What do I do? I don't know. I don't want to mess up. I don't want to piss anybody off. And they think about it forever. And then time passes where the decision is no longer even important. The decision's moment has passed. The opportunity has passed. I don't know what to do. And then those people who do well, they make a fucking decision, and they go, this isn't working out too fucking well. You know what? Maybe I'm not going to get mad and go, who told me? Who told me to make that decision? It's my mother's fucking fault. It's that's the fucking mentality as opposed to like, it
yeah,
was a bad fucking decision. Maybe I should do
yeah.
this next time.
Well,
Big difference.
that's one thing that drives me crazy with business and society now is nobody wants to make that decision. Like, in the old days, you could go to a company and they go, "Oh, we're sorry about that. Here, let me replace it." And they're like, "Well,
Yeah.
I can't do that. I don't have the word from my manager, and my manager needs to talk to the regional manager to find out if that's okay to replace
Yeah.
that for you." But the regional manager says, "I don't have the okay from corporate to say that I can." The old days, you could go back with a tire and somebody go, "Let me just fix that for you."
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to make a decision because that might come back on them, where companies
Yeah.
don't back up the employee anymore.
Well, to make this a bit of a bipartisan show, if that's possible, even former President Barack Obama was quoted as saying of his own party that they gotta get their shit straight because nobody likes walking on eggshells, which is a good example. People today are tired. They feel everybody feels like they're being judged. People can't say what they want to say because they feel like they're going to be judged. Everybody that said made fun of people for wearing masks. Oh my God, and there's still people today wearing masks
Wearing
outside. It's so
masks.
fucking funny. I say something. I'm one of the. I look at him. I go, you really. I look at him and I go, you're not that fucking bright, are you? You're really not.
I saw that last
It's
night out trick or treating. The kids are running with plastic masks, but the parents are walking behind them with COVID masks, and I'm like, you're outside.
yeah.
It's
Meanwhile, they'll
basically
reach. Meanwhile, they'll reach into their kid's basket of trick or treats and take something out and eat it, and it's fucking rainbow fentanyl.
Yeah, and then they'll raise their masks to eat something that was touched by somebody else.
A million people. Fucking ridiculous. You know what I'm saying. So it's just nuts, dude. But hey, you and I were talking before the show, actually in our first run of the show, and some interesting things have recently happened to you because everybody knows of the news of Paul Pelosi, who I had a great joke for because he was supposedly at a show I did in Greenville, South Carolina. And when somebody told me it was him, I looked at him. I go, hey, hey, by the way, I just want to let you know because they're dropping the checks. The check. I said, by the way, I just want you, this club just wants me to make an announcement that don't worry, they actually accept Amex, MasterCard, and oh yeah, Mr. Pelosi, Visa. Yeah, they take Visa. Visa. So of course, somebody attacked him. He got hit in the head with a hammer. And people are, the lady who's running for governor of Arizona is getting heat because she actually kind of made fun of it in a sense. You have a belief in the system that there's unanswered questions. That was this somebody that came in and attacked him, or was it a lover's quarrel or situation gone awry?
And to back myself up on that, I only say that for what was released at the time. I mean, when it came out, it was like he went into the bathroom, made a 911 call, and then comes back out of the bathroom. If you're being attacked, wouldn't you lock yourself into the bathroom? That was one. Yeah. Then he, on the 911 call that we've heard, they've played, that he actually says the guy's name is David and he's a friend. Okay. And now they're saying he didn't know the guy. They
what's
both
happened to that
in their underwear, which they both earlier had been reported. They were both in their underwear.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
We get the full
Twister
story, huh?
Playing Twister, probably. Now, who doesn't like playing underwear Twister? Well, let me ask you. They said there was a recording of him saying, "This is my friend Paul or David, whatever his name is."
David.
David. Yeah. Where was that on? Do we have it? Is there any more record of that, or has that disappeared?
That's the 911 call. Well, is that going to be a oops? That actually got erased.
Well, the 911 calls are. 911 calls are public domain.
Right.
They're
actually they're released. That's why it's out there.
All right. Well, so he knows. So you don't hear that in the news. I haven't heard any news that says he knew the guy.
Yeah. Well, if you Google, that's what the 911 call. The other thing is, it's Pelosi. You don't think that house had a ton of security cameras everywhere? We haven't seen any kind of footage at all. Just like when Epstein got killed and the camera just happened to not be working that night.
On that day.
And then I caught crap for this because I go, hey, why don't we get everybody a Ring doorbell? Because I've had one for 3 years and that records every goddamn thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I get motion and was that a ghost? What just set off my alarm?
Either somebody's breaking into my house or another spider's making a web. One of the two things are fucking happening. Thank you, Ring. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I mean, and now you're catching some heat.
Well, here's when that story broke, and all those little things came out about, they were both in their underwear. These were things that when it first came out, what it said, they were both in their underwear. A third person answered the door, and now it's an unknown person answered the door. And then it became, ooh, we don't know who answered the door. It was all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I just goofily, as a comic, laid a pair of underwear on my bed and put a hammer on it and said, my Pelosi costume is ready. And Donald Trump Jr. shared it and retweeted it.
Oh.
And then it's gotten thousands and thousands and thousands of views and shares, and the media has picked up on it. People magazine wrote about it. They talked about it on Fox News last night. On the 5 they mentioned it.
Yeah.
MSNBC did a whole thing about how the internet is sharing stories like this, and mentioned the underwear hammer picture. I'm like, it's everywhere,
So have you been interviewed? Well, let's get to that. Have you been interviewed by any of these people?
No, I have not been interviewed. That was the first thing my wife asked me. She goes, "Are you getting phone calls?" Because I sent her a link that People Magazine had done a tweet about it, and she goes, "Are you getting any phone calls?" And I go, "No, not yet. I think I would avoid it if I did, because you don't want to go on Yeah, I did that. I'm an asshole. You know.
Yeah. Get to hear from every liberal fucking
My
snowflake.
point of doing it. My point of doing it was not to be like disgusting and mean. It was like, you guys did this to us. You guys said you wish COVID deniers would die. You wish anti-vax people would die, and then they would
Yeah.
not, wouldn't be clogging up the hospitals. You know,
Right.
you held up cut off Trump heads, and you thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
My point was, look, if you guys can play this way, we can too.
Yeah. Well, listen, if there is questions, it did seem odd when you first heard the news about it. Like in the two people in underwear, did somebody break in the house, see the person in their underwear, and take off their pants to be polite? You know, it's just there's a lot of weird
To be
things. You know.
polite. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were in your underwear. Here,
Oh,
let me
make you feel more comfortable. You know, because you know, I love using logic. So sometimes when you look at a scenario, right, and you say, well, how would this logically happen? You know, if I like you said, if I'm in the house and somebody's in the house and I'm in the bathroom, the only way I'm going out of the bathroom is to get a weapon or to get, you know, to get to a safe room or something,
But if
or I
I'm
don't feel
already in the
comfortable.
bathroom with an attacker in the house, I'm
Yeah.
locking the door and not coming back out.
Yeah, I don't think the Pelosi's bathroom door is made out of ply, like you know, like drywall or some shit. You know, it's probably a fucking nice wooden door
Yeah,
or
it's
fucking
not
major door.
builder's grade.
Yes, exactly. I'm sure there's a fucking $1 million door there. Yeah, yeah, and listen, and we want to see
think
this.
about this. This was the other thing. Remember when Paul Pelosi wrecked his car, was drunk and wrecked his car? There was the rumor at the time of the being in somebody else in the car with him. All of a sudden, that story that disappeared like poof. No. And then all of a sudden, Nancy's out of town again, and all of a sudden, Paul's got a visitor.
Yeah.
Do you see
Yeah.
do you see what I'm saying? Like you said,
Absolutely.
just follow some kind of weirdness logic. It's not about like, oh yeah, somebody beat an old man in the head. Woohoo! You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I mean, listen, if it turn this is the funny part, if it ends up turning out that way, that it turns out that he's in the closet and he likes getting smoke 'em slowed by young men with beards, then you know, then who's to say we're not here to, because that's a duping, like, because that's what they're doing. You know, there's no ownership of any fucking thing. And all they do care about doing is prosecuting people for things that aren't true, like the whole fucking Russian collusion bullshit. You know, they love casting dispersions without evidence. But then when you question even somewhat of the evidence that's out there, how dare you? How dare you question what the fuck I'm doing? But that's good, man. I mean, listen, I think it's press. You know, was it Barnaby Brothers and Ringling Brothers, whatever he said? Any
press is good press. Just
any
spelled my
press is
name
good
right.
press. Yeah. Well, you know, the death threats and things, because I made a post on Facebook about how first it was baby formula, now it's diesel fuel. What's next? And I had a guy who supposed was a comic and now manager of some people call me a fucking moron, which I was like, really? And then he unfriended me and shit. You know what I mean? And I was like, you know, because when that happens to me, my first thought is, well, if I do see this person, if I do see this person in person, and the first thing I'm gonna think is, this person called you a fucking moron, and now you are not circuit boards away from each other; you are face to face.
Face to face.
And this is a man. You know, this is what a man does. And I don't care if he's 6'4" or whatever the fuck he is. You know, I'm gonna fucking say, hey, dude, you called me a fucking moron. So would you like to repeat it right now? Would you like to call it to me, to my fucking face?
Well, that's not really what I meant. I meant, you know, what I meant to say was I just didn't agree with you. You know, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, didn't you tell me one time that somebody wished you were dead because you supported Trump?
I worked. This was during his presidency. I was working with somebody and sharing a comedy condo, and the guy basically said before we got into it, he was like, "I think anybody who supports Trump and believes in him, they should just die. Wish they'd just all fucking die." And I looked at the guy. I go, I voted for him. I support him." And he's like, well, you know, I go, so you want me to fucking die? Are you basically telling me, standing 4 feet away from me, that you want me to die? You wish me dead? You wish that my wife would not have me around? You wish that the people who care about me and stuff, that I was gone because you didn't like my ideology? You know, why don't we settle this now then? If you want me to die,
Yeah.
Flight or fight or flight. Well, I'm going to fight, motherfucker, and I'm about to choke you till you look like an eggplant. And it just was really
Yes.
weird,
Ooh,
and I'm like,
ooh.
oh, fucking, well, so they kept saying that, and it's funny. I actually ran into this person a few, like 2 or 3 months ago, and that's the first thing I thought when I saw his fat face. I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, dude? I was cordial. I was nice and shit. I didn't
Well,
remind him of that moment.
that's the one thing I am glad that we aren't. We might be in a few crappy hotels with clubs these days, but I'm glad that we're not in as many comics condos as we
Yeah,
used to be. Because I had a couple times where I've shared rooms with people, and you're like, I just want to body slam you. Like
yeah,
I got in a whole argument one time. I'm not going to name names with comics, but was this whole guy about why it's easier to live a life of crime in the ghetto. And I go, why is that? Well, why would you want to bust your ass at McDonald's when you could make more money selling drugs? And I go, how about the fact it's not illegal? It's not immoral. You're not killing people. And he goes,
yeah,
oh, you're not saying you don't kill McDonald's isn't killing people with their food? And I go, that's not the same. But you see what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
having to live in a room with somebody that you don't even can't
yeah.
talk to logically.
Yeah, but that's all you can do, right? Like if I'm in that situation, I'm going to say, well, you're right in the beginning, but at least when you're at McDonald's, and once you've been there a couple of years, you either become manager, or you move on and get other jobs. Now that you've got structure in your life, you don't have to worry about putting a cap in your ass, because you're just somebody else, another crazy dude that doesn't want to work McDonald's, sees an easy way out,
Yeah.
and getting rid of you makes it simpler. It's
Yeah, but now you
it's
can get a
that.
cap in your ass at McDonald's because the
Yeah.
shake machine's broke.
Yes, because somebody's pissed and some grandma shoots you. There's just too much fun. Listen, at this point, no matter what side you're on, you need to be prepared. And anywhere I'm at, any outside, let me look at this crazy shit that's happening. A bridge in India, bunch of people fucking shake the bridge, shake the bridge. Whoops, the bridge fucking collides, fucking collapses, and then 150 fucking people die, kids and everything.
Is
And then
that
in
what
South
happened?
Korea.
Because I saw the story about the bridge falling, but I didn't see why. So they were
Well,
actually
there's people.
trying to
You
see.
actually this video of people sitting on there like purposely like rocking it, and then all of a sudden, whoops! Ooh, that was a bad idea. And then of course the South Korea tragedy, 150 if not more by now, people dying in that fucking Halloween. People just
in an
cramming
in an
into the
alley.
streets.
And again,
Oh
that story is not complete because they talked about all these people being crushed in the alley, but they never said what caused the surge, what caused people to rush. Again, what's the full story, media?
yeah. Well, they heard Biden was going to talk, so they're all rushing to get to the stage to see his exciting ass. All right.
Oh
You know.
no, Biden sniff our hair.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just fucking horrible things. It's just amazing. So that's why, listen, big group. When people say, "Hey, well, let's go to this big fucking," we did this thing in Greenville, fall Greenville. Big thing through the streets. It's packed and shit. I'm not big for those things. You know what I mean? I'm not big for those things. That's where mishaps occur.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So it's time for let me ask you, Mr. McGrew. Now, this is simple, but being that we just said this about your Twitter experience and the retweet by Don Jr., what's it like to be such a badass and be able to speak your mind with no care or any type of recourse?
Oh man, it feels good in a way, and I'll back this up by saying we all know how it feels with Musk, Elon taking Twitter back. We feel like maybe free speech is coming back, and
Hmm.
everybody, if you were paying attention, we're testing the waters to see if you are going to get banned. Like
Yeah.
there's only two genders, sin. Hey, I'm still here. Woohoo!
Looking and seeing.
So so it feels good when you're able to say what you want to say.
Right.
But I, for me, I've just gotten to the point that if I live another 20 years, I want to live and do it right. I want to leave a better place. I'm not in my 20s worried about, oh, if I say something bad, is it going to affect me over the next 50 years of my career? I'm just at this point like, here's the truth. Deal with it, bitches.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the way I look at things. I'm starting to notice in my like I did Detroit this past week, and I was at the Comedy Castle for the first
Great
time, and I
club,
didn't know how
Mark
that.
Ridley.
Yeah, I didn't know how the crowd was going to take me and stuff, but they went with it. They were happy. I mean, there was moments for certain jokes, but But even then, it was like once you have fun with it, they seem to be a lot lighter up. And I'm even seeing people make fun of making Biden jokes, which 2 years ago you really weren't seeing, but you're seeing more people make fun of them, and not on late night TV, mind you. But of course, you are seeing it out in the actual clubs where comedy still lives, versus late night TV. But yeah, so that was, and you speak about shitty hotels. First of all, don't ever stay at the Days Inn at William Heights, wherever the fuck I was. Dude, 60 something bucks a night. And it was the worst fucking hotel.
Was
The
it like
towels,
gunshots and hookers outside?
there was sketchy characters, nevertheless, that, number one. Number two, the room was the dirty walls, peeling, fading down. I got new towels. I looked at the lady. I go, she gave me a new towel. I looked at it. I go, what do you guys wash this with? Dirt? Which was just disgusting. So, but big shout out to everybody there at the Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle. I had a great time. So,
Well, I don't know if I've ever told you, you're talking about bad hotels or motels. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I checked into a hotel one night, running late for a show, checked in, just changed clothes, ran to the show, did the show, came back, went to bed, got up the next morning to take a shower, and there was bloody towels behind the door. You know how
oh
the
yeah,
door goes up against the wall. So when I looked down, and there was bloody towels behind the
yeah.
door. So I called could somebody come up here? There's something you guys need to see. What is it? I go, there's bloody towel. Well, we'll send somebody right up. Hour goes by, nothing. So finally I go down and go, somebody go up there because there's bloody towels. And I don't know, it's more than a nick on a
Yeah.
shave.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
some shit went down up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that happened when I was on the radio. And I came back and I mentioned the story on the radio, and I said, who has the best horror hotel story?
Yeah.
And this woman called. They found a thumb behind the headboard in their hotel.
Yeah. Yeah, you did mention this to us.
Did I tell you that before?
Yeah, you had the story on it. Yeah.
Oh,
Go back to the
God.
last time Steve was on there to hear the rest of that story. But yeah, just the fucking worst. And there was a moment by the first night I was there, I thought, you know what? I'm gonna lose money on this weekend anyway. I'm doing it because I want to do this club. Just go out and get another hotel. Just be safe, and this kind of shit. And I just ended up roughing it all the way through. All right, next question I want to ask you. What message do you have for those celebrities leaving Twitter? Several celebrities, so-called celebrities, have mentioned that they're going to be leaving Twitter now that Elon Musk is. Yeah.
Here's the deal. It's the same people that are said, I'm leaving America. If Trump's elected, I'm moving to Canada. Like Stephen King and Bette Midler and everybody on The View. They're all like, if he's elected, I'm out of here. Well, they're still here.
Yeah, they're still
the same people I think that's doing that on Twitter. They're virtual signaling, like, if I'm out of here. No, you're not. You have 8 million followers. They're not leaving, and you're too vain to give them up. So it's all BS.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, with that in mind, would you pay $20 a month to maintain your blue check mark on Twitter? It's the way Mr. Musk is going to raise some revenue.
Well, no, but I did just sign up today for Twitter Blue, which is $4.99 a month, which gives you longer. You can upload longer videos in HD, and you get an edit button. You can actually edit your tweets. So if you ever post something, then go, oh crap, that's not exactly how I wanted it.
Yeah, you got to delete the whole thing.
Yeah,
normally.
So that's what I signed up today for Twitter Blue for $4.99 a month.
Yeah, not bad. That's $60 a month. Not a bad little cost. Where $20 is $280 a year. I'm sorry, that much, $280 a year just to have a blue mark next to your name.
Are you managing my money?
Yeah, I'm a fiduciary. Oh boy. All right. Do you think the attacks on politicians and well-known people in the big arena are going to continue, get worse, get better? What do you think is going to happen?
I think when the red wave comes in November and pushes everybody in blue back to the sand dunes, I think they're going to fight back. I do. I don't know if it's going to be an attack on politicians, or it's just going to be the fact that these are like cornered animals that become dangerous because they know they're losing power. So
Yeah.
I think there's a possibility things could get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if anything, the fringe on the other side will, fine. Listen, they already had somebody, try to kill fucking Kavanaugh. They had somebody who was outside his house attempting and said that's what he was going to do. There's actually
Right.
some people said, well, he didn't do anything. Well, I said, well, Kavanaugh wasn't blowing him either. He wasn't come over to blow Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's the same
you know,
thing
the,
about Paul Pelosi's thing. Now they're saying, well, the guy had zip ties on him and he had duct tape. So did the guy outside Kavanaugh.
right.
He had all that stuff and a crowbar but
Yeah.
they
But it
didn't
didn't
stay
get the
on that
attention.
story as long, did they?
Well, yeah. I mean, of course, no one got physically hurt, but it'll be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see, what the fuck transpires. Now, I think they need to. They're gonna have to release the 911, and then that question is gonna come up. How did you know the guy's name? Is he a
Yeah.
MAGA? Because fucking Biden's out there going, see, this is fucking, this is fucking, this is, you got to blame Trump for this one. Yeah, of course you want him to do that, you muppet, because that's all they can do.
Because
Every
you're
time,
losing in the midterms.
every time you bring up something about Biden or what he's doing, everybody brings up Trump. I'm like, it is not the fucking, and again, it was this moment in time. This is what we're talking about. This moment in time. I don't go back and measure and tell you every time a fucking president fucked up when I'm talking about what's happening now. I'm talking about now. I can assure you, whoever's president next time, I'm not going to say, "Oh, you remember when Biden?" Because it's done. It's done news.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, like you say, moment in time. I was saying that when they were tearing down the statues, like they were tearing down statues of Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. And you're like,
right.
those guys were heroes of the time. Of the time. Then maybe you don't approve of what they did now, but at the
Yeah.
time, they got crap worked out. They were, Frederick Douglass talked them into getting black soldiers and, that kind of, so
Yeah.
it was at the time fantastic. But those people
Yeah.
are like, well, if I lived back then, it wouldn't have been like that. Well, you didn't.
Yeah.
So shut
Using
up.
today's wisdom, and other periods of time where that wisdom was not available. And I said that with the whole, like, I mentioned I got in a lot of shit one time talking about that when it came to slavery. I'm like, look, so everybody at this moment knows how bad slavery is. Nobody wants to see human trafficking. No one wants to see, anybody's life be controlled by another individual. End of story. That is not even a concern.
Done.
But that's a wisdom at a level we've come to, of a reasoning and all that kind of shit as a group. But unfortunately, back then and there, it was a norm. It was something that was, it was happening. It was something that, people, there was justifications for it at the time and all bullshit, because that's all they knew. And to judge how people made decisions back then using today's wisdom, and it's ridiculous. It's not fair. It's like, it's righteous. It's a real righteous component of humanity.
And it's still going on today, but yet you're not protesting about it over there. You know what I mean?
You don't give a shit about that. Yeah. Let's look back
That's
at let's look back at this.
That's what I told my son one day. We were walking and we were noticing bumper stickers, and it was like, save the rainforest, free Tibet, all this kind of stuff. And I go, you notice none of that shit happens here. I go, that's all.
Yeah.
That's feel good stuff. Liberals love feel good stuff. They can go, free Tibet. Well, what have you done about it? Save the rainforest. Yeah. Are you doing anything? No.
Yeah.
They love to do. It feels so good, over there.
Yeah, exactly. It's I told a story one time. I was working with a comic that was all about that. Fucking the air, Greenpeace and global warming and shit. And then we got food after the show, and he took the paper from the top of the straw and threw it out the window. I'm like,
yeah,
what the fuck are you doing? Like, what happened to all that shit you're talking about?
Yeah,
nevertheless.
the people that want to get rid of paper straws, save the planet, but yet they're still buying their CBD gummies in cardboard boxes.
Yeah, exactly. Do me a favor. Who is your favorite comedian, alive or dead?
Dougie Almeida.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Here's 20 bucks.
I was hooked from the. Where's my money?
I'm zealing it to you. And Elizabeth Warren's pissed. She doesn't want me to lose money on my zeal. That fucking crow.
It's hard. I was a huge Jonathan Winters fan, and I was a major Flip Wilson fan. I love Flip Wilson. So I've always had this thing about comics that do characters, that can actually make funny situations. I've always liked that. But as far as straight stand-up, I'm a Sam Kinison guy.
Yeah. Definitely came out and just shocked. Like nobody liked him, right? I mean, that's definitely a component of a comic where you can say nobody was like that,
Nobody.
Flip Wilson, great. Gertrude, what was that? Was that
Gertrude.
Geraldine?
The
was
devil made me do. The devil made me do it.
To fucking that was fucking great shit. The Flip Wilson show, I remember seeing that. My parents. Yeah, the character stuff. Yeah, I agree. I mean, and of course, who loved Jonathan Winters was he was very similar to Robin Williams, right? And they ended up getting close, and the way they worked together.
They admitted they were influences, that they worked together and later on. But what I loved with Jonathan Winters was there was that whole thing on his show where he would go up in the attic and he would pick up something, and then it became like, hold them off,
He'd fucking do a million things with it.
Stuff, and amazingly improvise at it.
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember him. It always kind of reminds, like, you don't remember people like Dom DeLuise. Like, I started thinking about him the other day. Steve Marshall famously quoted here on the show. He says, Dougie Almeida, I don't understand him. He's a Fred Astaire of jiu-jitsu. He's a fucking judo expert, but he's a Dom DeLuise of pizza eating. I don't fucking get it. I'm a diverse person.
I love
all right.
Who do we have today that were those? Who is our Dom DeLuise? Who's our Charles Nelson Riley? Charles Nelson Riley was hysterical in almost anything he ever did. It was just his delivery, and
Yeah, he was. But Kevin Hart to me is like a comic that's just like a
doing
character.
The same thing.
Yeah, yelling and shit. I don't know. I mean, there was some great times back then. All right. Would you mind sharing one of your favorite moments in comedy?
One of my absolute favorite moments for me is when I did the Montreal Comedy Festival, and I opened for Don Rickles, and had never met the guy. Just was lucky enough to do the gala up there, and after the show, he came walking down the hall past the dressing room, and he looked in and goes, "Hey," he came in, sat down. We would talk for a minute, and he had said he enjoyed what I did, and it was good to see young comic be so funny. And as he's about to leave, he turns to my now ex-wife and goes, "Funny man, do whatever you've got to do to keep him in the business," and walked out of the room. And I felt like I had been blessed by the Don. It was a Godfather moment. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I could have kissed his ring, but it was that moment in comedy that kind of said, I'm staying in this business. I'm going to do what it takes to stay in this business.
Yeah. How could you quit after that? You know what I mean? You'd be crazy. My last question to you, very personal question, but have you ever taken Viagra or Cialis?
Well,
he's looking down at it.
Well, sometimes you have to put extra gunpowder in the cannon.
Yeah.
When you really want it to go boom.
Yeah. That's fucking great. I mean, I've had somebody recently ask me that. I'm like, well, yeah, I took it. I remember my wife and I were in Bahamas one time, and my dad had some. So I took 2 of them with me to the trip to Bahamas, and I was like a fucking porn star all weekend.
See? It's not about needing it as much as, hey, you want to have a really good time?
Yeah. Listen, I was like Sammy Sosa at the plate. I figured a little more, why not? A little help me out, Wasn't a Sammy Sosa wasn't a good baseball player, so he took some steroids. He hit the ball a little harder.
You Mark McGuire did.
That's right. I just Mark McGuire at the moment. and I'll never be in the Sexual Hall of Fame because of it. But guess what? I was that weekend.
But you were to her at that moment.
Yes, exactly. I am her Babe Ruth, baby.
Well, I
That
remember
week,
going down to Mexico and seeing at the Pharmacia down there that they sell Viagra in like 100 milligrams. You know,
yeah,
over here they're like 25.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
100. What are they? What if it'll last longer than 4 days? Call your. You know what I mean? Who needs
yeah,
100 milligrams?
yeah.
That's
Well,
waking the dead. That's what
yeah,
that's doing.
that's why they have sombreros, so you can hold it over your dick when it's all
You're
day.
embarrassed.
You just
I'd like 100 milligrams, please.
yes. I like to wear my sombrero on my lap.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to the segment here. Did you hear, Mr. McGrew? I don't know if you heard, but the world's dirtiest man dies at the age of 94, reportedly not long after his first bath, after
What?
60-something years. Yeah.
I heard about the dirtiest man a while back that he had sworn he hadn't had a bath. I remember reading that story, but I didn't know about him dying. So he bathed and then he died.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
like the dirt was keeping the germs of the atmosphere that we live in away from him. He had created a crust that created a barrier. And you and
I think
are
this
just
is
out here, I like germs.
Yeah, just scrubbing away all the antibodies. You're right, but I think what happened here. I think this guy was robbed by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the scene in Predator where he fucking gets in the mud. Like he saw that this guy knows what he's doing. He's dirty. He's not knowing. You know, I'm going to get by the predator because I'm gonna have mud in my face. But this is great. The man was known to the community as Amu Haji, or otherwise known as the Smelly Fuck. And an Iranian term endearment for an older person, most notably because and he's known as the world's dirtiest man. He's recently overtaken that role from Weinstein for choosing not to wash for 6 decades. 6 decades. I'll be honest with our listeners and viewers. I haven't showered since Saturday, and we're recording here in the studio here on was this Tuesday? So yeah.
Can you smell the funk? Can you smell the funk? Can you smell the funk? Oh yeah. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. Then that smells like bad pussy. You need a shower when your armpit smells like bad pussy. Thank you, Otto and George.
You need a shower when you notice yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reaching for something. When you go reach for, you're like, oh, what the hell
was that? Jesus. Is that Iranian dude, Amu Haji here? Did somebody invite Amun Haji here for the fucking birthday party? Yeah. So he took a bath and then he died. I don't know if the bath is what caused it, but fuck. Yeah, my body stunk so bad the camera fogged up.
You raised your arm and the camera went, no.
It's like those Bounty commercials. No.
Speaking of commercials, if you go back, go on YouTube and you can look up different years and watch the commercials from like 1957 or 1967, and you go, boy, we are living in some pussy ass times now, because those commercials were like so wrong.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he like my coffee?
What's amazing about that?
For a second cup.
Yeah, what's funny about that? You have people questioning these types of commercials. Then you have a commercial for Snickers, where there's a couple, you're eating Snickers bars and they're playing a game, and the girl says, hey, you want to swap? And the girl's like, oh, you mean like a one-time casual thing with Bill? And Lily's like, no, I meant like partners in the game. And she's like, oh. And the guy's like, I don't like this game. So you're selling Snickers and you're talking about a threesome or a sexual swap.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Gone too far. It's actually gone too far. Well,
Listen,
I said that about products anyway, because I love watching these old commercials just for the retro of it, and even as an artistic eye. I like to see how did they do stuff, but they advertised the product. I mean, you knew exactly what it was for. Where today you can watch a commercial and go,
no fucking
was that
idea.
For the shirt or the car that he's driving? I don't know what was the commercial for.
It's funny you bring up nostalgia TV. Last time you and I spent time in a comedy condo together, we were watching reruns of Moving On, and there was an episode of them leaving. What was it? There was a sign outside of the Confederate White House.
Yeah,
You heard there's a
yeah. It
sign
was a
outside
tour.
about
You could get information for the tour of the Confederate White House. Yeah.
yeah, when they're walking out, it's like just fucking get through.
Yeah. Well, I saw
All right.
I saw a thing the other day on a rerun of some show, and it wasn't the Dukes of Hazzard because you'd expect it on there, but it was some random show where there was a Confederate flag still
Yeah.
hanging in the background, and you're like,
Well, if you watch the movie Animal House, the scene where the one guy is in there with the young girl, he reaches in and grabs the toilet paper out of her titties, or no, or maybe it was the scene where the main guy sleeps with Dean Warner's wife. There's one of those scenes. There's a Confederate flag hanging in the background, which is interesting. Speaking
a lot
of
of people, I think a lot of people have forgotten that the Confederate flag, that flag meant rebel. It wasn't about being a Confederate thing or a Civil War thing. It was a symbol of like, I'm a rebel. I don't follow the rules. That's
right.
basically
that was the real symbol. That was what really those who were doing it. They weren't thinking I'm going to go lynch somebody. They were thinking, I'm a rebel. I just don't. I'm a fucking cowboy. I'm a this.
I follow I make my own rules. I don't live by society.
There's been a rebel flag, a Confederate flag hanging or somewhere off 288 on South Carolina off a highway, and they're making the people take it down. I remember driving down it because you see it. Yeah, it's a big rebel Confederate flag, but they're forcing them to take it down. It's really scary when imagery makes somebody crumble. If you crumble over something you see, and the thing is, it's getting people all upset about it that never lived it. They
Right.
never lived, you know what I mean? Their family did, or they may have heard about it. But again, who am I? I've never been through it. So I honestly, but I, as a human being, I don't let things, symbols or words or perfumes or songs or things that bring me back to actually affect me. It may affect me, but who am I to tell somebody else? I can't tell girls to stop wearing Angel perfume around me because it reminds me of my old cunt girlfriend. All right. I just can't do that,
Well, speaking of perfume, do you remember Love's Baby Soft? That was big popular back in the late 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
Love Baby Soft. And one of the commercials is like this woman dressed like a little kid, doing Love's Baby Soft.
Right.
And the people now are commenting under the old commercial like, "Oh, pervy. Oh, who's this commercial for?" Who? Yeah. But it's like you said, the time was like, yeah, she's young and sexy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Speaking of art on the wall, hanging upside down in art galleries, a Mondrian painting has been hanging upside down in an art gallery for over 75 years, and somebody finally went, "Oh fuck, it's the wrong way."
Okay, how do they know? First of all, how do they know? Unless the artist told them it's upside down. You and I could have just randomly gone, "Hey, that thing's upside down."
Yeah, I want to send them a letter. Say, I don't think it's upside down. I think it's sideways.
Exactly.
Well, they ended up finding out because one of the original curators had notes and stuff and the pictures of it from when it was years ago, and it said that the depth, the darkness in the picture went from top down or something, and then they realized they had it wrong. Curator Suzanne Meyer-Bousser told The Guardian that she realized this was a mistake when researching a new show, Evolution, which opens in Dusseldorf on Saturday, that the thickening of the grid should be at the top, like a dark sky, said Meyer-Bousser. It's funny because there's a bunch of art critics and people walk, "Oh, you know what this means to me? This tells me of the imbalance in life and how things are harder, from the bottom up. That's what this means." It's the wrong fucking way, dipshit.
And now I see that it means my life has been turned upside down. That's what this means. My whole life was not what I thought it was.
Yes.
Well, I hate all of that modern art. I went to school for art. I actually went for art. And I'd go to classes and you're studying these paintings, and it's a red dot and a black square. That's art.
Yeah.
And my teacher would go, well, it's art because that was the first person to do it. The first
Right.
person. And like,
Right.
oh, okay, but it's still crap. You know what I mean? It's
Well,
just
listen. You and I are not eye to eye in this. When I look at certain things, I could see something that other people, because that's just it's like comedy. You know, some people
you get high.
see certain things. Yeah, you know, like I know people are. Yeah, exactly. I'm high. Hold on a second. That's a good looking painting right there.
I know
You sure
exactly what that artist was saying.
Yep. He was saying, "I want a Twinkie." He was saying he wants Twinkies and Oreos.
And if you stare really hard at that blue line, you'll see a Twinkie.
That's right, or a Viagra pill. Yeah. Well, so much for those people.
My whole thing with art, even I was never one like photorealistic people that can paint so well that you go, is that a picture? Is that a photograph?
Yeah.
I always thought, take a picture. Just take a, you
Yeah.
know, to me, art was seeing it something in a different way. Yes, I'm not about the circles and dots, but what's your interpretation of that horse, you know?
Right.
Not just,
Like a
oh, I
song, like
painted it, it looks so real.
yeah, like if you hear a song, if you're gonna do a cover song, but you do it completely different, you know, you do it in your own way. That's kind of cool. But
Yeah,
sometimes that sucks. But that's the difference
yeah,
between a true artiste.
yeah. That's
You know
what
what I
I
mean?
feel
I've
about with
tried.
tribute albums. When you ever get
Yeah,
a tribute album and you think, "Oh, I'd love to hear, you know, Van Morrison's cover of a Jackson Brown song." And then you go,
yeah,
"No, this is a Van Morrison version of a," and then
yeah,
the whole album is like that. You know, you're like,
yeah.
"I just want to hear these guys cover these songs, not
Right.
your version of a song."
Yeah. Like the one of the remakes I was just thinking, I've just heard it on the radio, was Stone Temple Pilots reversion, because they did that. A bunch of bands got together and did Zeppelin tunes. And
Yeah.
so, but Stone Temple Pilots did dancing days are here again. And they turned it, they put a different beat to it. It was pretty fucking cool. Hey, speaking of music, Luke Bryan responds to criticism after inviting Governor Ron DeSantis to appear at his concert. This is where, you know, liberals have just fucking lost their mind. Their
Yeah.
hatred for somebody who's doing well has made them cast out. And when you watch the video of this guy, he walked out, the crowd went fucking nuts when DeSantis was announced. They went nuts.
No,
But you have
it was all cheers. It was all cheers.
all cheers. Everybody went fucking wild. But somebody at home went, how dare he invite this guy during a political point? Like Obama is campaigning for dirty old Joe who ain't got shit going. He's out there huffing around and fucking trying to make him relevant again. And you're going to get mad. And then the guy is great. Like you said, the guy came out and said, look, man, you know, he wanted to come out and raise money for the fucking Hurricane Ian and shit.
Yeah.
When are we going to help? Or why wouldn't I fucking help? Because you don't like his politics? Go fuck yourself, you know?
Well, it's the same thing. If that would have happened in California and he brought out Governor Newsom, the crowd would have been like, "Oh my God, yes!" Yeah, well, you know, maybe not the crowd, but like the people on Twitter at home would have lost their shit. They'd have been like, "Oh yes, yes."
Yeah. Some sign of sanity. Did you hear that Kroger had to pay $180,000 to workers who were fired after they wouldn't wear an LGBTQ pride symbol on their apron?
Ooh.
Kroger, good company, actually, strong company for groceries, which I like.
Yeah,
they had to pay 180 grand.
Kroger a lot. Well, you know, that just goes back to America. You're free to do whatever, you know, wear it or don't. And if you don't, no, you know, big deal. If you do, big deal. But you shouldn't be like, the company shouldn't be like, you should support this.
Yeah, it is funny, and I'm glad that the law did this because, you know, listen, I'm all for you do what you want, but don't tell me what to do. Like, you know what I mean? Don't fucking like it's not that I'm gonna be harmful, but I don't necessarily support. I'm not necessarily trying to cheer them. You know, I fucking have my own beliefs. You know, I'm not gonna be mean to anybody, but I'm not gonna fucking wear somebody's pin. You know, I'm not gonna wear a.
You're not gonna wear yours.
Listen, I'm religious. I'm not going to wear a Jewish pin. that doesn't make me unreligious. It just makes me I'm not here to fucking brag about Jews. I mean, don't call me fucking a yee or Puff Daddy right now. I don't want to get all kinds of fucking trouble. I'm just saying that
lose your shoe deal.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose my fucking $1 billion shoe deal with Adidas. All day I dream about sex.
Well, I think what's happening with people and the reason they're pushing back, it wasn't so much about I can't even hope the letters are right, LBG, whatever. Was nobody cared. I mean, I didn't. I grew up in a period where I was like, let's all one love, disco,
right.
Doesn't matter. But then at one point it became the plus at the end, and now you're getting the drag queens doing children's shows, and you go, okay, no, you bring it back a little bit. You might want to pull it back a little bit.
Can we not involve children? I don't care what you're talking about. Let grown-ups do what they want to do. Let's not getting into the children. And that's where a lot of people. That's where America's losing it. That's where you're starting to see America lose it.
And it's the plus sign at the end. And I think when the Kroger employees, maybe they went, I'm not against this, but I am against that, so I'm not wearing the badge.
Yeah, they're part of that. Yeah, I'm not for that, because then somebody will see me and say, hey, you know.
So you're all for the drag queens at children's parties, huh? No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Why? Well, I don't know. I was told to.
Yeah, I was going to get fired. So congratulations to that working out. This is a funny story out of China. A man in China was hospitalized after he ate a whole live crab to take revenge for his daughter being pinched by her. Well, he could have just stepped on the fucking thing.
Right.
It's a good idea to eat a crab whole. I mean, what the fuck? You clipped my baby's finger. I show you. I show you. I show you. Hold on a second. I'm having abscess in my mouth.
How the hell does that even? I've seen crabs. They spike like this. Still, spike goes out, and there's spikes on the little arms of the.
Yeah, a week before his daughter got pinched by a porcupine, and he shoved that up his ass just to show him.
Well, you think Captain Crunch tears up the roof of your mouth?
No fucking shit.
Try shoving a crab in there.
It's like exactly. You know what I mean? It's like I saw him. I saw that the crab. That the crab and no make me look a stupid.
I wonder if that's the same thing with people that say when you eat spicy food.
Yeah,
it burns twice. Come on, ice cream. I wonder if it's the same thing with you're eating crab and you're like, oh, this is going to be painful tomorrow.
Yes, yeah. It was hard going down, but much worse later.
You constipated? I got crab stuck in there.
Yeah, I ate a crab. I hope it come out a suffer crab.
It's like, I wonder if it's like eating a jalapeno. Sometimes when you poop and a whole jalapeno is floating, you're like, I thought I chewed my food better. You know what I mean? Are you gonna eat a crab and look back and swimming in the toilet?
Walks out sideways with the John.
Well,
every time you try to wipe your ass, he's fucking grabbing the toilet paper, ripping it. Bitch, I just got my hand in my shit. Nuts.
I ate so much crab, I started walking sideways.
Exactly. I can't go up an escalator. Well, why don't we stay in the Orient? A teacher in Japan politely asks to use the convenience store bathroom to jerk off and gets arrested. Yeah, true story. I mean,
look at the picture they used.
Yeah. Oh, please, can I go in and jerk off? Oh,
please.
I just saw.
I must 7 by 11.
Yes, there's no women in Japan left, only men. I can't get laid. I just want to go in your bathroom and jerk my worky.
It kind of looks like he's praying that his penis actually works. Please, God, let it work this time.
Yeah. It's been so long since I touched my dong.
Are you trying to get us canceled and fired and do it?
I'm just trying to be realistic. You want me to have I was fucking up my accent earlier with people.
Well, we used to do this thing when I was on the radio that I can't do accents worth a crap. but you
Yeah.
try, you start off in one, but I would always end up back in an Asian accent every time.
Yeah.
I could be trying, even if I started off doing Arnold Schwarzenegger, next thing I know, you know, no matter
Dr.
what accent I
Chan.
did, it would end up back at,
That's funny. I used to be really good at it, but for some reason, I don't know. I'm just tired. All this weed I'm smoking. Um,
sponsored
yeah.
by.
Sponsored by
You don't
Get
have, you
High
don't have a,
dispensaries.
yeah, you don't have a dispensary that's your advertiser.
No, every other
You,
podcast does. I know. I don't.
I know that's what so many of these guys now. You watch them are like, uh, oh, what's his name? Mad Flavor. Joey Diaz. His show is like just clouds of smoke. Yeah, this was brought to Sonoma this afternoon by Devil's Dispensary.
Yeah. Devil's Dispensary. Yeah, these guys have fucking people. All right. Our last story of Did You Hear? 4 men plead guilty to conspiring to rape drugged wives after exchanging wife sharing fantasies. Unfortunately, this happened in Singapore, another Asian nation. So,
Wow.
basically,
Or
the story.
the title might be Swingapore now.
Yeah, we changed the name to Singapore.
Yeah.
Um,
We have my wife for your wife, and we'll trade them both for his wife.
this is a great
Yeah.
story because these are basically some horny dudes who hasn't tried to get their girls to kiss. You know what I mean? I had a buddy of mine with an ex-girlfriend and his wife. We used to always try to get him to kiss and get him hot drunk and shit. See if they'd fucking talk about it and stuff. But these
Yeah,
people
next thing
really
you know,
took it
they
far.
kiss and they're a couple. That's how
Yeah,
that ends.
yeah. And you and
You
your
think it's
friend
all
are trying to.
cool. We could get our
Yeah.
wives to kiss. Next thing you know, you're
Oh
both
my.
getting a divorce and they're moving in together.
Yeah, and you're finding yourself in a 7-Eleven in Japan trying to find space to jack off next to
Please,
some
I'm a
Asian
7
guy.
by 11.
Yes, please let me jack off in your place. But these guys basically had this fantasy. So what they started doing was they would have that come over. Had come over. Hey, the one guy drugged his wife, gave her a Cosmopolitan, got her all fucked up, invited the guy to come over, filmed it while she's out. I don't know how any guy can want to have sex with a woman that's passed out. It's just not. I would just not feel. It just feels creepy. Imagine it's got to feel creepy as fuck, or as I'd rather
Yeah,
jerk off. I don't
it's
know.
like warm necrophilia.
Yeah, yeah. You just don't have to get a heating blanket to make it feel better.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Well, listen, I'm just trying to be observant. I'm trying to make moments. Listen, I've never had that happen that I'll tell about. So, but so now they all did it. Now they're getting funny. And this is the funny thing about human nature. Once they get away with it, what do? They keep doing it more, and they do it more and more. And next thing you know, they're all doing this. They're interchanging until one of the ladies goes, "Oh, let me look at his phone." And then she looks at the guy's phone and finds it. Oh, that's a me. I'm not moving, And can you imagine? Could you imagine as a human being, you look at a video and you see that somebody's having sex with you? You had no idea. It's just unbelievable.
That would be so soul destroying. But at the same time, what kind of soulless husband goes, I'd really like to get my wife drugged and
Yeah.
and then they fight. He's like, but baby, I love you. I love you. Oh, is that why you drugged me and had your body?
Yeah. I like him, but I love you. Just trying to make us all happy.
Yeah, but baby, you don't understand.
Well, now we get to the part of the show I love. It's a new segment of the show we call Let's Associate. For those of you who know the old psychological game, word association, for example, word association. Steve, I say happy. You say
sunshine.
See, perfect. Happy, sunshine. It's a word association.
It's what I associate with. It's not
right.
Not the opposite word.
It's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word. It's not necessarily the opposite. It's something that free thought that, and not only if you want to share a word or thought, but a story. Okay, our first word, charity.
Handing out turkeys to homeless people the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, some food, a turkey on Thanksgiving. Beautiful. A second word, inconspicuous.
dictionary.
Yeah,
so I can
need
look
to
up
get
that
one.
word.
In all honesty,
No, I
in
know
all
what the
honesty,
word means. I just can't. What? We were so
well,
inconspicuous that day.
yeah, well,
Who uses that word on any regular basis at
well,
all?
somebody brought it up in a conversation. They brought it up, and I thought, when I hear words I haven't heard in a while or used or inconspicuous, and I started thinking of moments like that. And the first thing I thought about is when I used to go to get adult videos at the adult video store, and you had to inconspicuously make your way to that room in the back where everybody who goes in there is a fucking perv. All right.
You had to make yourself socially invisible, where people did not notice you going through the beats.
Yes, you had to meander nearby all the other things, and then you would almost like drifting into a black hole. You would like walk backwards into the fucking deeded room.
You're moving slow as you're looking at the DVDs, but you move at the speed of light as you pop back through the curtain. Like, wasn't there a guy just there? Was it?
And the worst part is when you get in there and then you make eye contact with the other fucking pervs in there.
And you're like, oh, fuck, hi, Reverend.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, Senator. How's it going?
The Hammer videos are over here.
Yeah. Third word, wisdom.
Oh. I wish I would have listened to my father more. I wish I'd have paid attention to some of the stuff that he knew that I wish I knew now.
Yeah.
I think we younger people, even younger people than us, don't pay attention to people trying to say, listen to me. I've been here. I was before you. I know how this movie ends, so let me help you out.
Yeah, if you're about to climb a rock mountain and somebody says, "Yep, I just got back down. You want me to give you some advice? Fuck you, I got this." You know, that was always something I was explaining.
You're like, okay, don't listen to me. Don't hammer a little loop up in the rock about 6 feet above your hand. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't. Ask the guy who's laying there with his body looking like a mannequin if he should have listened. The expression, you ready? Next word, to prick.
Yeah. What is it?
To prick. To prick.
I would say that is an owie from me reaching into my backpack and not realizing my sewing kit had come open and there was just needles in my bag.
Oh my God.
You've never done anything like that? I mean, not that specific, but you've never been like reached in and go, oh God, there's an open can in there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've done that. You reach in, there's some shit in there and you cut your finger. To prick. That's something I did a lot when I was younger. Two young girls. I used to prick.
To prick or not to prick? That is the question.
Yes. Is it more noble in the mind to prick or to be pricked?
So you and all Shakespeare at the bar when you were younger. You would look at chicks at a bar and go, to prick or not to prick?
Yes.
That is the question.
Yes. To prick must drink another drink before I prick. Choice.
Seafood. If I had a choice, I'd prefer seafood.
Yeah. Nice. What's your favorite seafood?
I love shrimp. Fried shrimp, boiled shrimp, shrimp Creole,
Cajun
Fredo shrimp,
butterfly shrimp,
butterfly shrimp,
shrimp parmesan.
I love shrimp. I just love like crab. I would eat crab, just not alive. But
live crab. Yeah.
I think because my dad raised cattle when I was younger, I'm over meat. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm like that. Like I love surf and turf. I gotta get a nice steak. I love to get a lobster tail with it, just to have that nice
I
blend
agree.
of food.
I agree.
Great. I agree at that. Lucky.
Biden. That lucky son of a bitch got voted into the White House.
Or did he?
Yeah, or did he? Yeah.
Um,
Lucky is not what I am, because I've been playing the lotto for like 4 years now on a regular basis, and I have not won $1 million yet, but other people have. So I don't have the luck, apparently.
Not yet. Sexy.
Coochie coochie.
Chara.
Yeah.
Remember Chara?
Yeah. Well, not.
She had,
I remember Charo, but not Charo specifically. Just the Charo-esque. You know, the bigger hair, the the whole,
Yeah, come fuck me attitude. Got it.
Right. Right.
All right. Trolls.
The View.
Oh my God.
Isn't that four trolls? That might be
Yeah,
5 trolls.
I still to this day can't understand how anybody watches that show. And how many times is Whoopi going to apologize for being a complete fucking moron?
Yeah.
What was the last thing when they had what's his name from Texas on there? And that those people protested. Ted Cruz is on there. You know, at least Whoopi said, "Hey, we got this. Let us do our fucking job, you young."
Yeah.
And again, we're talking about what we were talking about earlier. With this, the people that are pouring soup on fucking paintings and all this shit, gluing yourself to certain things. These are all people that, when you look at them, you know they have not suffered. There's no reason for them to be fucking complaining and worrying about all this shit. They're just trying to make themselves relevant.
I said when I saw those people throwing paint, I've seen it twice now, throwing paint on paintings and glue themselves to the wall, is leave them there. That should be the punishment. You've glued yourself to the wall. Now pull your hand off or just sit there and cry all you want to, because we're not coming in with and aspartaning or whatever. You know.
Yeah, seems like not only is there a diesel shortage,
but acetane.
Yeah,
acetone.
Acetone.
But yeah, you know what I mean? Wouldn't that be the best punishment? We're like, hey, hold on,
leave them there. Hey, great job, buddy.
The museum?
That'd be funny. And you have somebody sitting there go, "We love your commitment. Congratulations. We'll just leave you here so you can really take pride in what you're doing."
Yeah.
Shut the lights, I
have to pee. Good luck.
Yes. Turn off the heater. Let's make it cold as fucking here. All right. And our last word of let's associate, fame.
Out of my reach.
Yeah.
We all started off thinking we're going to be, movies, sitcom, talk shows. And I really believe, I used to have a button years ago, almost famous, and I had a t-shirt that said, "I'm famous in England." It's like, there's some, but not enough, my wife told me, as a comic, I've made my career, all my life. I paid my bills basically telling jokes, whether it was stand up, on the radio, whatever. She goes, "You are successful at what you're doing." Yeah, but I'm not famous. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And some people some people are, when they get it, realize that's probably not good, because when you become famous, it's the old Pandora's box thing. When you reach a certain level and you have all this light and incredible exuberance, and then where do you go from there when it doesn't happen? I mean, Robin Williams killed himself because he knew he had Parkinson's, and he realized that there was no days that were going to be brighter in his mind than what he had already been through. And that,
he was
sometimes
we keep top of the world famous,
Yeah. And then, you realize, hey, things aren't going to be as good as this anymore, and that's the thing, everybody keeps searching for all these great things, but you don't realize that it's not about getting to the great things. It's about the journey and the accomplishment you feel once it's all done. And when you wormhole your way through that, like somebody who gets work in a comedy club because they got 1 billion views on fucking social media, and they never went to clubs and
they have no act.
And all that shit. Those people don't last. And You know,
Well,
fame shouldn't be the
like
ultimate goal.
you and I have worked together several times, and the joy that you feel from any show that was just at the top of your game. There's shows that you go, that was out of the park. I couldn't have done better any way, shape, or form. And when those nights happen, I mean, you could always have that's a home run that hit the fence. But when you've got one that's just like, oh my god,
Mm-hmm.
that is the greatest feeling in the world. I mean, when I've had nights that you go on stage, you think, you know what, I feel like improvising tonight. I feel like I'm gonna
Yeah.
talk to and all of a sudden you realized yourself that you did probably 30 minutes of stuff you've never said before in your life, and the
Yeah.
crowd is like, at the end, you're like, damn, I'm good. Then you really feel
Yeah.
like, damn, why isn't anybody noticing this shit?
Well, it's like you said when Don Rickles, gave you that incredible, acknowledgement
Yeah,
that who you are. I this weekend a young lady came to do a guest spot at one of the shows, and I always have my own thing about how people think of me. I'm a little who whatever, but it was after the show. She was like, "You are awesome." She goes, you just said a few things and people laugh like you didn't have all these long structured jokes. You just said a few words and they laughed their fucking ass off. I'm like,
yeah,
thanks. I didn't realize, and it was a great feeling that, hey, this is what I've been working for.
yeah.
And
Well, it's
absolutely,
years ago, Sam Kinison told me that I was one of the best editors of comedy that he'd ever seen. And but he goes, you only use the words that you need. It's not like you didn't talk for 10 minutes to try to get to a punchline. It's like, say this, and that's that. And it's not like one-liner jokes. It's still, and you see me, there's story to it, but there's a joke. You know, there's a joke every few seconds, minutes, whatever.
yeah, absolutely. And I always say, I always give credit to Rich Voss for this because years ago when I worked with him, he said that to me. He's like, look, he goes, there's got to come a time where you're not writing, you're not telling jokes and shit. You're just saying shit that's funny, you know. And the first joke I ever wrote with that after that advice was, I'm in a good mood because I fit in this coat. It's my opening
Yeah,
joke. I walk out and I'm like, I'm in a good, and it's not even a joke. It's just words that are funny because everybody's experiencing it right there and they get it. You don't have to
yeah,
explain it. You don't have to set it up. Nothing drives me
yeah,
more crazy when I see comics over setting up jokes. It's like
exactly.
you almost you get to the point like where it's coming because all they keep doing is setting this thing up, uh, which is worse. Not having a punchline. A lot of young comics today think they think their punchline is, you know what I mean? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You ever
That's your
bought a
fucking.
coat? You ever bought a coat and it fit really good and you felt good in it? You know what I mean? Like, not what you a version of what you said, but makes no
Right.
sense. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
bought this coat. I ordered it online. You ever shop online? But look, it feels good.
But just saying the words,
Nothing.
I'm in a good mood because I
Yeah,
fit in this coat.
right.
Big difference. And that's one of the things in comedy I feel blessed with now. That I feel like that's something I'm tapped into. And I feel like all these years, of doing it a certain way, thinking you're doing it great and doing it well, and then you realize there's so much more to this business. And
Yeah.
I'm here for the long haul. So that's all we have time for here on the Wake Up Late with Dougie show. I want to thank my good friend, Mr. Steve McGrew, for joining us today.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for letting me wake up with you, Dougie.
Absolutely. And what's coming up, man? What do you got coming up that you want to share?
I'm coming out to do some shows with you out that way.
That's right.
And
That's
I'm going to
right.
let you put up the dates and all that other stuff underneath this.
We'll have that, man. I'm excited. We are so excited to have. First of all, not that it's going to happen, not that we want to broadcast it, but you're getting into town on Tuesday, November 15th. I'm going to come get you. We're sharing an Airbnb. We'll probably have to. Well, maybe we should bring your Pelosi
Earplugs.
costume. Maybe you should bring. Maybe we'll walk around the condo together with hammers and our underwear. And but we're going to be at the Turtle Tavern in Delray on that Tuesday. Wednesday, Tavolino's November 16th. Great comedy show, the Wise Guys Comedy Show. You're going to have some of the greatest Italian food you've ever had. Thursday at Club Bremen. You got to be a Club Bremen member in West Palm Beach area. We'll be having a show there. And then you're off on a cruise.
Yeah, then I go for 2 weeks on a cruise. Yeah. Working a
Rough
cruise.
life.
I'm not actually like, oh, yeah, bring me another one of these. No, I'm actually doing shows.
Yeah, my buddy Perry Sack, long time friend of mine, and a friend of the show, says, when I posted the shows that you're coming to us, he goes, oh my God, my wife and I were on a cruise. We saw him. I didn't know who he was, but he was fucking hilarious. I'm like, yeah, that's Steve McGrew, buddy. That's Steve McGrew. You're welcome. But be sure to check out Steve McGrew's Twitter and all that and see how many people are trying to kill him right now.
Go to SteveMcGrew.com and you can find all of my social media links. There
you go. And with that being said, this weekend I'm off. I'm actually going to spend a little time with the wifey for her birthday this weekend. We're excited. And probably going to head to Vegas for a couple days. After that, like we said, I'm going to be in Florida. Those dates I just mentioned. And on Friday and Saturday, the 18th and 19th, I believe, of November, I'm going to be headlining Gregory's Comedy Club in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Great room out there at Gregory's Comedy Club. Friday, Saturday shows at, I think, 8:30, 9 o'clock. I don't remember what time it was. I think it's 8:30. I don't know, 8 o'clock show. Anyway, go to Gregory's.com. Gregory's in Cocoa Beach. I'll be there. My good friend, who the fuck is opening? I just changed it. I'll figure it out. Just go out to the date. Go to DougieAlmeida.com for more dates. Other than that, guys, we'll be back next week with an all-new show. Mike Lee and Adam Lowry, comedy club owners, new comedy club owners, have great clubs in South Florida. We're going to talk the business, comedy clubs, and all that good stuff next week right here on the show at the same spot. Take care.
Wake up.